So it is currently about 8:40 in the morning. I am heading to Silverwood this morning. Never been to Silverwood. I'm very excited to get there, but park doesn't open till 11, so I'm just waiting around for now. On June 15th, 2020, I made my first amusement park visit in 7 years. Silverwood Theme Park in Athol, Idaho. I got there just after opening and stayed the whole 10 hours until closing. It was lightly raining when I entered the park, but almost all rides were still operating. It took me a bit to find the coasters, but I eventually made it. And I encountered Timber Terror first. So we are going to hit Timber Terror first. They got other social distancing lines up, but it looks dead right now. This is gonna be great. See if I can get front seat. Maybe more back seat, we'll see. I got on and got a back seat with almost the whole train to myself. Wasn't expecting what I was about to experience, but this was a welcome feeling. Just got off Timber Terror. Oh my gosh, back seat was amazing with airtime. Next, I made my way to Tremors. Gonna get on Tremors now, maybe get a back seat or front, we'll see. I got front seat for this one. Tremors is slightly longer and features a more twisting layout when compared to Timber Terror. Just for Tremors, I'm probably just gonna keep my glasses off. Front seat, train all myself. Oh my gosh, I gotta get a back seat. That was gotta have some good airtime. I returned to Tremors for a backseat ride, which blew me away. Tremors backseat. Oh my goodness, the airtime was, I think, a lot better in the back. It's a bit bumpier, but the airtime was good. I almost lost my phone because my zipper pocket was not zipped up, but luckily it was just sitting in the seat, so we're good. After that, I took a few more rides between Tremors and Timber Terror before making my way back across the back of the park to the historical Corkscrew. A bit of a rough ride, but very fun, short and to the point. Easily the best coaster to take pictures of in the park. Just rode a piece of coaster history called Corkscrew. Used to be a Knott's Farm. A bit rough, front seat. It was fun though, turning upside down and all that. It's pretty cool. After Corkscrew, I tried Spin Cycle, the SBF Visa Frisbee ride. Despite looking somewhat terrifying, Spin Cycle offers a very relaxing ride. Highly recommend. It's one of the few of its kind that offers such a ride experience. I also did Spin Cycle just a bit ago. It's fun. It's got some good hang time. I'm gonna have to do it again. It's slow. I've seen people say it was relaxing. They're kind of right. I also tried Panic Plunge, the 140-foot drop tower of the park. Good ride, but one ride was enough for me, so it was back to the coasters. Unfortunately, Aftershock was closed due to weather, but we all know how finicky Vekoma giant inverted boomerangs can be. I do hope to ride it someday though. After a few more rides between Timber Terror and Tremors, I decided it was time to grab some food. Silverwood offered a pretty good selection for food, and it's actually pretty reasonably priced. I got a good lunch for about $10. Not bad. And after that, it was back to the rides. I had Corkscrew a bit, and at this point, made my way between Timber Terror, Tremors, and Corkscrew for the most of the time I spent at the park, with a quick stop at Spin Cycle for one last ride. At the end of the day, I feel like I spent my time well, and that this trip was definitely worth it. Final thoughts about Silverwood as I head out. Great park. I would love to come back when Aftershock is running. That would be great. I hear it's like the best. Tremors, great ride. A little rough, but otherwise great. Timber Terror, smooth. A little bit more boring than Tremors, but it's smooth, so it wins that point. I think out of everything I rode, Timber Terror is still my favorite. I got the most rides on it. It was mostly a walk-on for like the entire day. It was great. Like any seat is really good in that one, except for the middle, which I had a rough ride on it. But basically, that was it. Corkscrew, rough ride, but like, you know, it's old, so that's pretty obvious. Yeah, I'll have some more final thoughts in an actual formal ending for it, but great park. I highly recommend coming here. It's a great park. So here are my final thoughts on Silverwood. Silverwood is an amazing park, and I highly recommend visiting it. There's some great rides. You have 4 coasters, 3 of which I rode because Aftershock was unfortunately closed due to weather. And we've got Timber Terror and Tremors, both CCI Woodies, about comparable in size and length, I'd say, except that Timber Terror is a lot smoother than Tremors, and Tremors is a more twisting layout, whereas Timber Terror is an out and back. Then you have Corkscrew, the very first roller coaster to ever go upside down. It's a piece of history, and I'm really glad Silverwood was able to preserve it so well. It runs pretty smooth despite being a prototype. On my visit, I also rode Panic Plunge and Spin Cycle. Spin Cycle is a 140-foot tall drop tower by Larson. It goes up, and at the top it just immediately drops, instead of the weight like you get on most drop towers. And Spin Cycle is an SBF Visa Frisbee ride. It's actually quite relaxing despite looking terrifying. If you let go of the restraints and just float there, it's really cool, and I highly recommend doing that if you ever get the chance to ride it. I hear it's pretty unique in comparison to other Frisbee rides, as most are more intense and this one is more of a relaxing, floating type of ride. On my visit, I only had lunch in the park, so that was the only meal that I had, but it was reasonably priced and it tasted great, so Silverwood gets a thumbs up from me there. The park was also clean, and the operators for every ride were really friendly. You could tell they were enjoying their job. It was raining the day I went, but amazingly, the only ride that was closed was Aftershock, and the water park, of course. So, as some final thoughts, I do believe Silverwood could use another roller coaster. They have a ton of space that they could work with, and a lot of it has not been used. I think possibly an out-and-back style Raptor or a ground-up hybrid would be good choices. Rocky Mountain Construction's headquarters are located only about 20 minutes from the park, so Armacy would be a great choice to have put in a new coaster. Other than that, I feel like maybe a B&M invert could be a good choice, but being that we haven't seen one of those since 2014, I think it's very unlikely that we'll ever see one at Silverwood. On top of that, I feel like they should RMC Tremors, but I doubt that will happen, being that park guests seem to like it, even though it's extremely rough and really needs some work to make it a better ride. I think if they were to turn it into a hybrid, it would be a much better ride, but I don't see that happening because, as I said, the GP seem to really like it. Though I will note it does have the one redeeming quality of having some great ejector feeling off the first drop, so there is that. All in all, Silverwood is a great park that you can visit in a day, and I highly recommend getting out there if you have the chance. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. And with that, thank you for watching. If you liked what you see, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. That would mean a lot to me, as this is my first video and I'm not really sure how the quality is going to turn out. If you want to subscribe, hopefully I'll be improving the quality of my content over time, so that'll be nice. Again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again in another video.